Welcome to Zen Room Kava Lounge, Minnesota's first kava lounge where relaxation meets connection. Kava is a natural plant-based elixir that melts away stress and invites a sense of calm, focus, and social ease without the effects of alcohol. Feel grounded, present, and open to meaningful conversations in a space designed for healing, storytelling, and authentic connection. Whether you're looking to unwind after a long day, spark creativity, or simply share a moment with friends, Zen Room Kava Lounge is your new sanctuary. No hangovers, no regrets, just good vibes and deep conversations. Come sip, connect, and elevate your state of being. Find your Zen today. Hello, friends. Welcome to Minds on Mushrooms. I'm your host, Maggie Kirkwood. I am so psyched to be here today with my dear friend, Navid.
To be here.
Thank you so much for your time and helping to make this happen.
Thanks for having me.
We're actually sitting in Zen
Room Kava Lounge.
Zen Room Kava Lounge, which we're going to talk all about. I just had a wonderful, warm, inviting cup of kava, and I'm just so excited to have you here because you are someone, I met you just a few short months ago, and in this span of time, you had a vision, and you have been taking action steps, I like to say aligned action, and you've created something insanely beautiful, and I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
And I think that this is just the beginning of such a beautiful, beautiful endeavor.
Thank you very much. It means a lot.
So thank you. Let's kind of start there. I'm really interested. Well, first of all, we met at, what would we call that? Like a mushroom mixer of sorts.
Yeah, it was near the Lake Harriet Spirituality Center. And there was I think there was an event where they were talking about psilocybin and bringing some awareness to the power of this plant medicine.
Yes. And yeah, at that point we were just saying hi and kind of exchanging some background information. And then fast forward, literally, I don't know, I can't do math too well, maybe 9 months later, you've got this amazing, beautiful space, which we're going to showcase. But yeah, I would like to kind of just backtrack. I think an appropriate place to start would be if you could maybe talk about the beginning of what I kind of term as healing journey, or this journey that's led you to where you are today. And I know it can be a lot, but yeah, I want to hear kind of where it begins for you in your path to help bring community together and heal and talk and all the wonderful things that you offer in this space.
Thank you, Maggie. Yeah, I was really grateful to have connected with you because it aligned really well with where I was at in my healing stage, which is how do I take it even further? I went to the school at the U of M, and it was actually during my time there that I had my first course in Reiki.
Okay.
So I did Reiki healing. This was in 2007. I think I had a course, and then I took Reiki 2 and practiced it for the next 10 plus years. And that really opened my eyes to the possibility that, healing can be accomplished through energy work, and what is energy, and what are our chakras, and how do we humans relate to each other beyond our physical realm. And then in 2019, I had my very first encounter and experience with psilocybin.
Okay.
So I was going through a change in my life. I was going through a dissolution, a divorce, and we have 3 kids, and those things are never easy. And I was trying to make sense of all of it. And for people that have been through it, it's often a difficult journey, even when it's not. And so a friend of mine recognized the struggle and my inability to really ground myself around accepting what's happening.
Okay.
And changing my mind from this is happening to me towards this is happening for me.
A friend of yours?
A friend of mine who I'd known since kindergarten. You know, I was sharing. She had recently come back from California, and she was on her own spiritual journey, and said, you know, this really helped my life, and it changed me. You should consider it. And so in 2019, it was July 31st, we went to Lake Harriet, and each had, you know, maybe 1.5 grams.
Okay.
And by the time I finished walking around the lake, I was a completely different human being.
Wow.
It was that deep for me. It gave me such a different perspective on the situation, and a very different way to look at my life. And so fast forward, you know, the divorce case ended, and we were co-parenting, and we both have the kids. But the impact of that experience sat with me for many, many years. And I also worked in careers that were very high, fast-paced and difficult.
Yeah. Sorry, I want to interject for a second. So let's talk about, you had said before your first psilocybin experience, you were aware of Reiki and energy. And did any of your first psilocybin experience bring awareness to that energy piece of things, or did it tie together at all? I'm just curious.
Yeah, that's a really good question. It's all tied in for me at the end of the day. It's kind of like saying, well, you do yoga. Have you ever tried a sound bath healing, or have you ever done breath work? It all sort of is tied in together, right?
Right.
So for me, the psilocybin absolutely escalated my ability to leverage the true healing powers of Reiki, not only to heal other people, but then to bring that inward and heal myself.
Wow. Okay.
And I think because it grounded me so much. When you're a grounded human being, you can more easily tap into your energy. So if you are a healer, if you've done Reiki, it completely changes how you practice your Reiki healing. It makes you a far more powerful healer because it lifts the veil and gets you in touch with your true nature and spirit, which is pretty clouded for people, you know, up until the point that they have their first life-changing psychedelic experience.
Wow. And yeah, I kind of cut you off there. I do want to talk about your past careers, because you have you've done a pivot, right? Yeah. Let's talk about that and kind of that journey, I guess, where you were and.
Yeah. I did a pivot, which for me, the large pivot started in 2024 for me after I did my ayahuasca journey.
Okay.
This was after my psilocybin experience. So I sat with that psilocybin experience and wanted to go even deeper within, because the careers that I had, I feel like kept me very dissociated. I worked in the corporate setting in healthcare. I was director of AI strategy for a very fast and wildly successful startup. And then in the evening time, I also was at the medical examiner's office. I had been doing that work for 13 years.
Wow.
As what's commonly referred to as a county coroner. And I've done close to 3,000 plus death cases. Jeez. Covering 6 counties in Minnesota. So Hennepin, Dakota, Chisago, Scott, Carver, Goodhue. And, when you're in that line of work, there's a certain level of dissociation that happens. And I think a lot of people that are first responders or work in those kinds of fields have a fair amount of dissociation that happens so that you can get through your work. And then same thing with my corporate world. And so these things, along with, I think, some of the residual pain of the divorce, really kept me in a sort of a dissociated state.
Yes.
And I was looking for grounding. So the ayahuasca helped ground me in 2024 to the degree that when I was then finished with that journey, I couldn't really quite reintegrate into those fields because I didn't want to become dissociated again.
Oh my goodness.
And so after the ayahuasca journey and a few psilocybin journeys afterwards was really when I'd made the decision to step away from these fields completely.
Okay.
And it was the combination of the ayahuasca plus these psilocybin journeys that really sparked this idea of bringing healing to the community of Minnesota through a space like what we have here at Zen Room Kava Lounge, through Kava, but really an environment that allows other healers to connect with one another. And so that's what really kickstarted my journey of retiring from my careers and opening Minnesota's first Kava Lounge.
Well, that is so wonderful. And again, congratulations. Just really, really proud of you for,
Thank you.
I guess, following your truth and creating something that you desired to create in service of others is just remarkable.
Thank you.
Let's switch gears to kava. How about
Great.
that?
That sounds wonderful.
I've had some kava here, or my first time ever here. But can you kind of talk about the origin and the ceremonial aspect about it and what sort of effects, I guess? Tell me about kava.
Absolutely. So kava has been used for a long time in Polynesian culture and Pacific Islands, Fiji, Hawaii. It's a social drink, and it is made from the root of the kava plant. And the root of this kava plant is connected to the black pepper family plant. The technical term would be Piper methysticum. And so from this root, when you extract the kava in it, you blend the root up and then you put it in a cheesecloth and you squeeze it. And from the cheesecloth, the kava falls into it, and the active ingredient in kava it would be the kava lactones.
Okay.
That really give you the mouth tingle and the relaxing feeling. It's a social, connected drink that's used ceremoniously, served in a traditional bula bowl, as they call it, or coconut shell with some coconut water and the kava that has been brewed. And when you drink this, you get a very sort of uplifting, connected, social energy, to yourself, but it doesn't impair you.
No.
And you can still function and get about through your day, but really social, wonderful drink.
I feel like I get somewhat of a warm wave. So yeah, for me, it is, it's just something so different. I mean, even different from cacao, which is, for me, I would say, well, they call that a heart opener, right?
Yeah. Yep.
But yes, there's something with kava. I think that you do get this tingle in your mouth, and it does make you want to be more social, or just kind of have a little, outreach versus
a little outreach. Yeah. I like the way that you put that. I think for me, it feels like just having a warm blanket put over you, know, for a little bit, and you get cozy and comfortable and social and relaxed all at the same time. But you still feel like you're very much in control, of yourself and your body and your thought process. So
speaking of being in control, I think I remember you talking about that kava has almost a reverse tolerance.
Yes.
Can you talk about that?
Yeah, the thing I like about kava is that if you're a seasoned drinker and the more of it you have, the less of it you need to get the same effect.
Okay.
Whereas with alcohol or other substances, your body builds up a tolerance, so you need more and more of it to gain the same effect.
Wow.
And so there's going to be a little bit of a buildup of those kava lactones. And so the next time you have it, and the next time you have it, your body still has the kava lactone, but it just pours right on top of it. And so you're going to get that same feeling with needing less kava each time.
It's almost like you're building your base.
Yes, you're building your base and then building on top of the base.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So when did you, I want to talk about the ideation and creation of Zen Room Kava Lounge. And I do want to tap into more your ayahuasca journey. Did you have, can you kind of give the timeline of when ideas or seeds were planted about starting something like this and how it came together? And did anything involve greater visions in ayahuasca ceremony? Anything you can share?
Yeah. So the true genesis of it, for me, I did ayahuasca on April 12th, which was a Friday. And on May 12th, a friend of mine who I hadn't talked to in a long time, who had no idea I did ayahuasca, and we had disconnected for a while, reached out and said, "Hey, I'd like to connect with you, and I have this deck of cards
Oh, wow.
And I want to do a reading for you, and we'll have some dinner and just catch up. It's been a while. And so this was exactly a month after I did my ayahuasca journey. So I went over and we connected a bit, and she was telling me about these cards, and she shuffled it and said, you know, I think you're looking for a new path. So whatever 2 cards you draw, let these be your path. Mm. And so she shuffled the deck and put it together and had me pull 2 cards. And I pulled these 2 cards and set them down and flipped the first one over, which was the card read ayahuasca.
Okay.
And the second card I flipped over was kava.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, the ayahuasca kind of blew my mind because I had just done ayahuasca. The kava thing didn't really make sense at the time. I didn't know what to do with that.
Were you, pardon me, privy to kava at this point, or had you experienced?
Yeah, I had experienced kava years ago. I was at a little Kava Lounge in Florida that we stopped by. And I don't recall if I tried the kava drink there or not. I think we went in there just to try a THC drink and kind of spent some time there in downtown Fort Myers, but I hadn't thought about it in years.
Right.
And so this kava card that I drew, I didn't really quite make the association. It wasn't until like a month or 2 after my friend drew this card, I was in Banff, Canada, hiking with Cassie, my partner. And it just sort of hit me all at once. I was like thinking about how do I bring healing to the community and do something different. I'd always wanted to kind of start my own thing. And this idea of healing the community through a space like this, but also being Minnesota's first Kava Lounge, just hit me suddenly.
Wow.
And we got everything registered right then and there. And when we came back, started looking for some spaces, came across this beautiful space here in St. Paul on Kellogg and Summit. And
such a great location.
Yeah, just really liked the energy of the space and built it into what it is today.
How wonderful. I kind of want to backtrack again here. When I think I was at an event here actually, and you were mentioning, you told the crew that night that you did exactly what you weren't supposed to do upon returning from an ayahuasca trip and make like a grand change. Mm-hmm. But you literally you said you were kind of, after your ayahuasca journey, unable to go back to your career
correct
path. Yes. How did that feel? And, how did you how long have you been in these careers for years, right? And how did that feel internally? I mean, were you crapping your pants?
It's a good question because yes, they always say whenever you have these experiences, you want to sit and let it integrate, and you don't want to go make life-altering choices or decisions. But I also felt like I'd done so much shadow work at that point, and I had my first psilocybin experience that taught me to trust the world in a whole different way and trust the path and the way. And so after coming out of ayahuasca, that idea and notion was solidified for me that the universe has a way of just taking care of itself, and we are all part of the universe, and we have collective consciousness that flows through us. And so it was this calling, it feels like, where, I was very nervous and scared on the one hand, but that was my human ego side being fearful of like, how am I going to pay my bills? And I have 3 kids, and I got a mortgage to pay, like with everyone else, I got a life to leave. It was hard, but I'd also seen and felt something so profound where I knew the answer would come to me and the universe would deliver what it is that I was manifesting the whole time.
Just like a knowing.
It was a knowing.
Wow.
It was a knowing. I knew that as difficult as that was, continuing forward in that way was just like a bird flying in a golden cage. You're not really going to be free.
Was it almost like you had this drive or this knowing, like you can't set it aside, right?
Yeah.
You just have to kind of keep propelling, and what you don't know what it is really. Well, you were lucky because you had your cards read.
Yeah, yes. And well, I feel like even the cards being read like that, the fact that happened a month after ayahuasca and I hadn't talked to this person in so long, I feel like that was part of manifesting the change,
Oh,
right?
wow.
Like we
Of
kind of
course.
create
Yeah.
these situations in our life. And so it all came together in such a way that whatever fear and doubt I may have had was overcome by my strong belief in this new path that I felt within after I came out of ayahuasca, after my psilocybin journeys, that for me, you know, going to drive to a multiple fatality motor vehicle accident at 2 a.m, and then finishing that and running straight to my desk job, typing away medical policies for, the next 9 hours was just not going to do it for me anymore.
Yeah.
So,
wow. Yeah. Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, that's just unreal. And just so, again, I just envious of, it just takes such a determination and, I guess the ability to surrender. And, but yeah, I mean, it's just so wonderful what you've created here and
thank you.
Offering inspiration to others on what's possible. It's just really fantastic. I want to ask you kind of about, I mean, to me, you are such a person that, and these are the types I'm hoping to have on the show, but you just embody someone who I like to say kind of walks the walk. Like, would you share any, like, what's your maintenance practice? Or, how do you have a relationship with meditation? I know you practice Reiki. I don't know much. We need to connect.
Yes, we sure do.
But what are kind of some of your, I don't know, day-to-day or weekly practices? And is Kava a huge part of your practice and ritual in your life?
Yeah, that's a really good question, actually, because I feel like I didn't really have those self-maintenance routines, right? When you're dissociated, everything's kind of in a jumble. That's a rush. You're kind of in this fight or flight survivalist mentality. But there's a couple of things I've kept consistent in my life from childhood. So one of those things is I'm a classical pianist.
Oh, wow.
So I still play the piano, and I feel like that's always grounded me, and music has been this great connection I've had to myself and to other people. The Reiki practice has continued with me since I first took it in 2007 or whatever year that was specifically, but that's always stayed with me, and I feel like that's always had a way of grounding me and allowing me to heal others. And then after my various experiences with ayahuasca and psilocybin, I've gotten back into doing more meditation, more breath work, just by virtue of the fact that a lot of the people that come here to do Kava also happen to be in the healing community, in the music community, in the art community. And so I've been given the great opportunity to be invited to a lot of different like sound healing ceremonies, breath work, yoga, Reiki retreats. And so these things just continue to keep me grounded. Awesome. And then also, of course, the Kava, when I'm here, I usually, will have a little bit myself. And there's something very calming with Kava, and it makes me feel so good and controlled and warm and healed that I also have just weaned away from other substances or even certain food products. Okay. Like just lowering the amount of meat I consume in general. I still like a glass of wine here and there, but I mean, even like alcohol, I've started to step away from, whereas with the lifestyle I'm leading now, I feel the same good effects without needing to rely on those things.
Isn't that wonderful? Yeah. I like to say, instead of I'm alcohol free, I'm hangover free.
Hangover free. Yeah. I'm going to have to borrow that. Yes. I like that. I like
hangover free.
Because people say, like, are you totally against? I'm like, no, I have nothing against, alcohol per se. I mean, I don't consume anywhere near as much as I used to. And I didn't consume a lot before, but even just like a little nightcap here and there, I don't do that anymore. Right.
Yeah. Well, I was never able to kind of control how much I was consuming, but I think that it's the hangover that was really affecting me, and only the older we get,
the harder everything hits. I hear you.
I was going to say, I wanted to kind of talk to the listeners. Navid here at the Kava Lounge invites artists in, or you have several artists who have showcased their work on your walls. So I love that. That's such a great way to, again, get the work, the hard work that goes in, or that artists put into their work. So it's just such an amazing space here, and we're going to show bits and pieces, but I just kind of wanted to talk about, again, how you're taking steps to bring people together and help us share all the things, whether it's work or stories of healing. I was joking around with a girlfriend. We talk about integration all the time and healing. But I was excited the couple of events that I've been here, just connecting with people. It was after a profound journey, a recent profound journey that I had where I came here and was able to kind of talk to people just about the journey itself. So I think it's like when we say integration, it's literally like never ending.
Right.
And so for me, spaces and places like this are just essential. And again, just really, really proud and happy to know
Thank you.
you. And I invite everyone to come and check it out.
I appreciate that.
Let's see here. Do you have any upcoming things you're excited about, either for the space or travels or anything that you want to event-wise promote or anything?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first, going back to what you were mentioning about the artwork. So there's so much local talent in Minnesota, St. Paul, Minneapolis. I've had a lot of people come in here who are artists, and they can put their pictures on the wall. It's all for sale. All of the proceeds go right back to the artist. I don't charge anyone to put their paintings up, and I don't keep any percentage of it. You know, I want to create that economy for artists. And then the space is somewhere where a lot of people collaborate and talk to one another. I was grateful to have the entire leadership team of the Luna Wolf Group come in and speak with some of our interested guests and customers who want to learn more about ayahuasca and just talk about their own healing journeys and ways to connect folks together. So our plan is to continue pushing those events forward, pushing those opportunities forward for artists. Sometimes on Sundays we'll do private events here, like we'll move the furniture back and put mats on the floor, and we'll do private cacao ceremonies. I'm in touch with the Minnesota Reiki Association to do more Reiki shares and Reiki exchanges here at the facility. And we're looking at potentially expanding into Minneapolis.
Wow, I did see something on the socials about that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I just feel like, you know, as a student, I was always looking for like a place outside, you know, the buildings to do my work in. Sometimes you'd go to a Starbucks or Caribou, and that's fine too. But sometimes you'd find little swanky places. And so to maybe think about having something on campus where you don't have the added pressures of alcohol.
Oh, I see. Okay.
You can have a safe space to study. You got some vibey music, you know, you can have some kava, relax, get really creative would be a great thing to bring to the city of Minneapolis.
Wow. Yeah. Just the idea of a lounge is so inviting to me.
Yes.
And how exciting that you're the first Kava Lounge in Minnesota.
We're
I
very,
bet
very
maybe
grateful.
are there any in the Dakotas or Wisconsin?
Yeah, I think there might be. There might be some, you know, a few in the Midwest. Majority of Kava lounges or Kava bars are in Florida. You'll find some in Texas and in California. Not so much the Midwest, but people have taken a lot of interest in it. And there's this general movement away from, you know, different types of products and more towards natural products. You know, and kava's from the root of this plant, and people really, I think appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to maybe hone in and work on building my base because I'm having it very sporadically.
Right.
But I do know, I mean, I feel right now, right here, very just good and warm and safe. And yeah, it's an excellent feeling.
Good. And I love that. I love the work that you're doing, Maggie. I mean, to be able to use your podcast to reach different people and bring to reality how these experiences have literally reshaped people's lives and consciousness and driven awareness and building community connections. I mean, this space would not have been possible without my, experiences with ayahuasca or really the psilocybin, more importantly. And so to then be able to share that story through, your Minds on Mushrooms podcast and kind of your ability to connect with different folks and weave these stories into how we're healing the community one person at a time in Minnesota, to me is such a tremendous thing you're doing for the community.
I appreciate your kind words so much. And also just you being open and vulnerable to talk about your experiences. But yeah, there's nothing to hide because it's all so beautiful.
It truly is.
And yeah, I really, really have enjoyed meeting you and
Likewise.
checking out the space out. And I look forward to all of the things here. I hope to have a little something here someday.
Oh, I would love that. I would absolutely love that. I'd be honored to. I think there's so many great connections and, we're all on the similar path.
Right. Yep.
Of elevating and transforming people through healing. So
it's all, so much interwoven aspects, and it's just beautiful because I feel the more services and modalities and knowledge and understanding about all the things, it just kind of helps full circle it all.
100%. I am grateful.
Well, this has been amazing. And I'm excited we're going to go check out some kava specialty drinks. It's going to be fun. We're going to include footage of that and check out the space further. So thank you.
Thank you very much for having me on your show.
And I know, we'll be in contact. I'll be here. And I like to offer up, come back sometime and give us an update where you are. Maybe after expansion and all of that.
Yes, please do. Always a treat to catch up and kind of share the good news. And it's taken a lot of people to make this place what it is. I mean, everyone that's come in here has left a part of their energy in here, and a lot of we're so grateful for the support we've received from the communities.
That's so great.
Here in the city. So
well, good. All good.
Thank you, Maggie.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining the journey. You can tune in to Minds on Mushrooms on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts.